So so those are the ones that we target. So that does not mean that we don't go after other equipment types as well. But as you're learning from a very beginner's perspective, you want to focus on the equipment types that'll get you paid quicker or get you better paying loads quicker. And then as you learn the processes of those equipment types and you're starting to formulate a pattern and getting used to how to work with the brokers, how to work with the owner operators, you can consider moving to other equipment types, namely like straight trucks, hot shots, auto hauling, things of that nature. So, but from the beginning, I try to focus on 53-foot drive-ins, 53-foot reefers, and 48 to 53-foot flatbeds. Um, so the profile sheet is what the carrier is telling you how they want to run. So then you can cater your load search to that profile. So the carrier says, hey, I want $2 a mile or $2.50 a mile for my equipment type. I don't want to go to the mountains. I don't want to go to New York, like dealing with the toll costs because of it. It's too expensive. I don't want to go to the mountains because I don't want to haul ascend or descend mountains that'll wear on my brakes, that'll burn a lot of fuel. Diesel is expensive. I only want to go within a certain number of miles, between 500 and 1,000. I want weekends off. So whatever the profile sheet, or however the profile sheet is filled out and returned to you, then you, as the dispatcher, you will cater your load search according to that profile. So you get those sheets back, you get the dispatch agreement back, you get the profile sheet back, you get the certificate of insurance, W-9, and MC authority. So what are those three documents that are needed? The reason why those three documents are asked upon us for that carrier is because we need those documents to book loads on a regular basis. When you call brokers and shippers and you're getting ready to try to book a load based off of the load criteria on the load boards and in accordance to the profile sheet that you have of your carrier. So say you were on the load board and you found a match for that. And so you call the broker and say, hey, I'm looking at a drive-in load going from Cincinnati, Ohio to Charlotte, North Carolina. So is that load still available? The broker will say, okay, let me check my system. By the way, what's your MC number? So if you have a carrier under agreement, you'll give them the MC number and they will look in their system and say, yeah, that load is still available. But we see that you're not set up with us. So who do I need to send our carrier packet to? You, as the dispatcher, you'll say, okay, well, send it to me, because as the dispatcher, you want to remain the middle person between the broker and your agreed upon carrier. So you send it to your email, they'll send it to you. In the beginning, unless you have consent, whether written, verbal, express, text, however, I put it in my dispatch agreement so it's written and it's legally binding. If you do not have that, then once the broker sends that packet to you, send it to your carrier, let them fill it out, send it back to you, send it to them. That's the long way. The short way is, if you're in your dispatch agreement, if your carrier has given you consent to fill out the carrier packets on their behalf, as well as the rate confirmations on their behalf, then that speeds up the process. It increases the chances of you booking that load, as opposed to decreasing the chances with a lot of time wasted by sending carrier packets back and forth, back and forth. You never know where your carrier may be at that time. They may not be in the cab of their trucks. They may not have their phones with them. They may be in a receiver or a shipper getting information. They may not be able to take the call at the time. They may be doing their resets, maybe sleep. Their phones may be off. So time is an asset that we try to utilize a lot of. So if your carrier gives you consent to do that, you speed that process up by doing the carrier packets and rate confirmations on their behalf. Now, of course, you're going to copy them in email so they'll have a copy of it, and you'll call them on the phone if there are any discrepancies or questions about certain things in the packet that you cannot answer, only your carrier can answer. So those things are helpful, but it speeds the process up. You're doing the carrier packets while the carrier is focusing on driving. You're focusing on the administrative side, getting them under that load, booking that load, and then working on their next load while they're under the current load. So that is the secret to dispatching in a nutshell. Doing that is the challenge. So, and it's not really that big of a challenge if you do it over and over again and you develop a technique and a strategy of working that. There are other strategies when you're dealing with brokers and shippers and carriers too. So as you're dealing with the same brokers, if you get your carrier set up with that broker, get approved through their brokerage, then you can probably keep your carrier in that lane of which or by which that broker has in their brokerage. So there. Also, back to the 3 documents, W-9, certificate of insurance, and MC authority. So why are these documents needed? The W-9 is needed to prove to the broker that the carrier is a legitimate business. The purpose of the W-9, it lists the name of the company, the trucking company, say for example ABC Trucking, and it lists their EIN number. The fact that they filed with irs.gov and received an EIN number that's associated and tagged with their business, their company. I don't think it's a good practice to put your social security number on a W-9 and associate that with your business, setting yourself up for failure. So that's the W-9. The certificate of insurance, purpose of that is to prove to the brokerage and the broker's customer, who's the shipper, that you have enough insurance to cover the freight for which you're going to haul. So from a carrier's perspective, I think the 2 main types that's generally asked for are cargo insurance, and the minimum of which is $100,000, and then liability insurance, the minimum of which is $1 million. And you will see that on the certificate of insurance. You'll see the policy, the beginning and expiration dates of the policy. You'll see the insurance types or the subtypes, cargo, liability, sometimes workman's comps, things like that. Also on the certificate of insurance too, you will see at the bottom on the left hand side where it says certificate holder, there's a box there. So some brokers will ask you, the dispatcher, or the carrier, if they don't have a dispatcher, while you're doing this carrier packet, be sure to make us the certificate holder on your insurance. What that means is you will call, as a dispatcher, you're representing the carrier, you will call the insurance agent of that carrier's insurance, and their information is in the top right hand side of the certificate of insurance. They have their name, first and last name, cell phone number, email address, and or office number, email address, and fax line. So you will call them and you say, hey, I need a certificate of insurance for one of your clients, one of your customers, listing the following brokerage as a certificate holder. So, and then the insurance agent will verify, in fact, that it is one of their customers or clients, based on the policy number on the certificate of insurance. So you will give them the policy number. They'll look it up in their system and say, okay, what's the name of the company that we need to make the certificate holder? And you'll say ABC Brokerage, 123 Main Street, Anywhere, USA, 12345. You'll give them that basic information. They will type that or put that in that box in the lower left side of the certificate of insurance where it says certificate holder. There's a square box down there. And then they'll say, who do I need to email or fax this to? Of course, as the dispatcher, who do you think that they need to send that to? You're the middleman, so you would have them send it to you, and then you would keep that paperwork and then forward it to whoever you need to forward it to, namely the broker that you're trying to get currently set up with. The MC authority is issued by FMCSA, which is the Federal Motor Carriers Safety Administration, and DOT. They're in conjunction with one another. DOT is the Department of Transportation. each carrier, owner, operator, truck driver has a unique MC number and a unique DOT number that identifies their company specifically. So every carrier out here that has a DOT and MC number has been issued it by the FMCSA and DOT, and that number uniquely corresponds to their company. MC stands for motor carrier, DOT stands for Department of Transportation. Um, there are different levels of the MC number for carriers as well as brokers. There are two for brokers on the broker side, but for the carrier side, there are four that I'm aware of. The common carrier is the basic one. Then you have contracted carriers, you have passenger authorities, and then you have HHG, which are household goods. Those are the moving companies. But the main one that you will be dealing with will be the common carriers, because they can haul general freight all over. So that's that. So those are the three documents. A fourth one is possible, assuming that your carrier has what's called a factoring company. The factoring company are those entities that they buy the invoices, or they buy the BOLs or the receivables on the delivery receipts, and they pay the carriers up front, minus their percentage for that service, and then they go after the broker on the back end for the rest of the monies. So it's a safety net, so to speak, for the carriers, especially those starting out new who do not have a lot of revenue to keep up with the demands of running a trucking company, such as fuel, maintenance, insurance, upkeep of the truck, things like that. So if you're first starting out and you get a factoring company, just do your research. There's different types of factoring, recourse and non-recourse. The difference between the two is the fact that one of those protects the carrier in the sense that if a broker does not pay within a certain time frame, then the responsibility of going after the broker for the monies will be on the factory company as opposed to the carrier. That way the carrier does not take time off, have to go to court, small claims court, to try to go after monies that were lost. Losing days and losing time is loss of money for carriers because they're trying to stay running all the time. So I think recourse factoring helps in that. And the range of percentages, I believe, is between 1% and 5%. So the higher percentages, like 4 and 5%, corresponds to the level of factoring service that's offered by the factoring companies. An example of a factoring company is Foley's, Interstate Capital, TBS, things like that. So after you after you receive the dispatch agreement and profile from your prospective carriers, and the other documents, the W-9, certificate of insurance, and MC authority, and NOA if possible, then you, as an independent dispatcher, you file those in your internal system that you have for your company and keep track of those per carrier. So as you get carriers under agreement in each case, then you create file folders, or if you have a TMS system or a transportation management system, namely those are for the brokerage side, but you can use them as a carrier or an independent dispatcher. You just have to tweak the fields or customize the application in such a way that it applies to your dispatching company. But a TMS system is a transportation management system. It's a combination of a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system, and a CMS, which is a content management system, where it keeps track of data in an organized, streamlined fashion. That's all that means. So even if you use an Excel spreadsheet or just simple file folders starting out as a beginner dispatcher, and then you gradually work your way towards the TMS system, that's fine too. As long as you can keep some form of organization for your company, it'll pay off in the long run. I also recommend creating a spreadsheet of every load that you book. Keep track of the loads that you book for the carriers, and the rates and the miles and things like that, because you never know, you may have to use that as a point of reference down the line when someone say, hey, what was the miles on that, by the way, that load back on January of 2017 or whatever, for this carrier going from here to there, so you can have a point of reference. You may have paper copies, but if you have an electronic copy, you can refer to it a little bit quicker and it's organized. So the Exodus, if you notice here to the left of the screen, the Exodus Dispatching and Training has become the Exodus Logistics Learning Center and Exodus Dispatching and Associates. So it's a twofold platform wrapped in one. The Exodus Logistics Learning Center is where individuals want to learn how to be independent dispatchers, as well as learn how to understand what it is to be a freight broker or a freight broker agent. Um, we have spot trainings for Dispatcher 101 now on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on the screen there is the contact information, and scrolling across the top is the free conference call information that's the same at the bottom of the screen on the sheet there. We also offer Freight Broker 101, where we give you the basics, the very basics of the prerequisites of being a freight broker, the requirements of being a freight broker, understanding what a TMS system is, understanding relationships between the broker and the shippers, and what's involved in them, getting them set up on the broker-shipper packet, and understanding the relationships with the broker and the carrier on that side with the broker-carrier agreement or the carrier packet, and the merging of those two. So if you have a good a shipper with good paying loads, then finding a carrier to move those loads won't be a problem. So that's the key on the broker side. So if you have a shipper that has, for whatever equipment type, dry van, flatbed, or reefer, that have good paying cents per mile loads, then you can sell those loads to the carrier, move those loads, and then do your markup as a broker or a freight agent, broker agent, and then you can work from there. So the key is speaking to transportation managers, logistics managers, shipping managers, and convincing them that you can provide a service for them that'll move their freight for their customers from their shipping docks to their customers' receiving docks on time, nothing's damaged, and you can be called upon whenever it's needed. That's the key on the broker side. On the dispatching side, you are trying to convince a carrier that you can keep them running in a way that they can be profitable, and their average cents per mile can keep them rolling. Even after expenses, they can turn a profit. That is the whole key to dispatching and the freight broker side. So if you have any questions, the website is scrolling across the bottom here. This is for the freight broker, but www.exodusdispatchingandtraining.com, the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, and Exodus Dispatching and Associates. The Dispatching and Associates side is when I was dispatching, I accumulated a number of carriers, owner operators, truck drivers. So I am offering a opportunity to those members, and again, you have to be enrolled in Dispatcher 101 training for beginners in order to participate in the Exodus Dispatching and Associates side. But I am offering an opportunity for those members who are having trouble or difficulty contacting carriers, trying to get them under an agreement. I will offer my carriers who are already under a dispatcher agreement to you in order to find loads and book those loads, and we split the commission on that side, to the point where you later on down the line you'll say, okay, I've learned enough, I got my own carriers, now I can move on, and then I'll keep all my percentage. So while you're under Exodus as an associate, you will move the loads for our carriers and split the commission, but you're getting paid and you're learning the process at the same time until you become comfortable where you can do it yourself. So that's the whole goal of Exodus Dispatching and Associates. And then under the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, we provide the tools and resources to teach you how to do that. We have other associates who are doing very well at that. They have a skill set that is keeping. I have one particularly that's running loads for two of my carriers, and she's doing a pretty good job. One is a reefer carrier, and another one is a flatbed carrier, and she books loads like a week out. So she could have kept going if she wanted, but I mentioned that the strategy would probably be a week out, because if you do 2 weeks out, then you run the risk of trying to play catch up in case one of those loads get canceled, like in the middle of that booking. So you want to be careful. That's another secret and strategy that we try to teach. So we teach it from a very basic perspective. So at Exodus Logistics Learning Center, we teach by doing. We don't just speak. We teach by doing. We actually show you what it is that you actually are going to be doing yourself. We do not try not to anyway talk you to death about things. We try to actually show you, like we do live calls to carriers and go over scripts and have conversations with them. I actually call some of my carriers and get feedback on the service from some of my associates. And then we call brokers. And if during my trainings, I also ask some of the members who have carriers under agreement who are having difficulty finding loads for the carriers. I ask, well, does anyone have a carrier under agreement that is having trouble finding a load? We can do a live booking right there in the training. So that is the point. And I'm trying to get Exodus Logistics Learning Center to a place where we will actually do a booking from start to finish, from getting a carrier under agreement to finding a load, to booking a load, to invoicing the carrier, all live. So that way everyone can see what it is that we do, and it'll be more of a convincing factor for them to say, okay, yeah, Dispatcher 101 actually shows you what it is that I need to do in order to learn this particular concept. So any questions, Exodus Dispatching and Training.com, either enrolling in the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners or the Freight Broker 101 training for beginners. We also have a Facebook group and chat group, and a Facebook page. It's called Dispatcher 101. You could go there to click to join that and be a part of that Facebook chat group network. There are questions that are asked on that chat group that are answered, and we go over things there too. Just because you joined the Facebook chat group doesn't mean you have access to the back office tools and resources. You actually have to enroll into Dispatcher 101 training for beginners to have access to the load boards and other tools and resources in the back office of the website. You have to be an enrolled member. So I just want to make that point clear, because people are going to the website and they're clicking on trying to get site membership to some of the back office tools and resources, and they're getting denied because they have not enrolled as of yet. And I usually reply to the emails saying that you must first enroll prior to gaining access to back office tools and resources. And then all our trainings are recorded. We have a YouTube channel, Dispatcher 101 Training for Beginners, as well, where you can go look at some of the videos. Not all the videos are listed on YouTube. Some are unlisted for obvious reasons, but the main deep level training and understandings are in the training videos section of Dispatcher 101 in the web portal, and you have to be a member in order to access those. So again, Exodus Dispatching and Training. I look forward to you guys joining. We are growing and evolving as a family and a network. So if you have any questions, go to ExodusDispatchingandTraining.com. You can leave a comment. You can go to the Contact Us page and send me some information there. If you want to enroll, you can go to the Enroll area under Dispatcher 101. Until then, I see you guys in the Wednesday or Saturday trainings, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.